What's up, you guys? It's Jonathan Carter, and today we are doing something a little different with the year 2024 coming to a close. We are going to stop and rank my top 10 best movies of 2024. If you're new here, I'm Jonathan Carter. This is a movie review channel that I've had for a little bit over a year. I've been consistently ranking or reviewing movies for the year of 2024 and keeping tabs on the best movies of the year and the worst movies of the year. I will have a companion video to this up either probably tomorrow, getting right at the end of the year, for the bottom 10 or the top 10 worst movies of the year, which will be a little more of a fun video. Anyways, if you're new here, please be sure to liking this video, subscribing to the channel, following along on my TikTok and Instagram. I also have a Spotify podcast version of these videos that go up alongside the YouTube video versions of that. With that being said, 2024 was a rough year for film. Not one of the best, maybe going down in history as one of the worst years of film. It did take me a while to get a top 10 best list. Just like I've wrapped out my top 10 best actually with the last movie that came out, one of the last big movies that came out this year, kind of rounded out the list there. So enough talking. Be sure to like and subscribe. That being said, let's jump into this list with number 10. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I am a huge Planet of the Apes fan. I grew up watching the original, or maybe not the original, but the older 90s movies, not the newer, the 2000s Mark Wahlberg one. And then 2011, Rise of the Planet of the Apes happened, and I was hooked, ready for that. I think I was like 13 or 14 when that movie came out. And then Matt Reeves took over with the next two, Dawn and War, and I was just hooked with that trilogy. I actually had to run and go grab this. I own the 4K trilogy of the Planet of the Apes, the Matt Reeves with the Rise and all that on 4K here. So I'm a big fan of that trilogy. So naturally, I was anticipating Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and it did just squeak into top 10. Is it as good as the Matt Reeves trilogy with including Rise? No. Is it still enjoyable? Yes. The film has incredible visuals, and that's probably the biggest compliment I can give the movie. It is entertaining, but I don't necessarily enjoy where the story went entirely. I also don't think it's as elevated as Rise, Dawn, and War, especially War. War is my favorite out of the series. You can check out a ranking of these Planet of the Apes films that I did earlier this year. I'll still be there opening night for the next one. I know I'm going a little more negative on this, but like I said, it was a hard year for film, so this did just kind of squeak into the top 10. I did enjoy it, but I went a little more mixed on it. It wasn't my favorite Planet of the Apes film, but it did make top 10, and it is still a good movie. Number 9, Deadpool and Wolverine. The only MCU movie to come out this year, and the first Deadpool sequel in like 6 or 7 years, I believe, and also the return of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine from Logan, right? From his last movie, as him saying it's his last movie as being Wolverine. There was a lot riding on this film. It was the return of Deadpool, return of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine after he said he was done, and the only MCU movie for the year. This movie went on to gross $1.2 billion, like the highest grossing R-rated movie, and I enjoyed it. Again, I'm not going I know I said it was more mixed on Planet of the Apes. I'm a little mixed on this one as well. It's actually my least favorite Deadpool movie, and the more it goes on, the longer I step away from this movie, the less I enjoy it, actually. I'm not negative on the film. I definitely enjoyed Deadpool's connection into the MCU and how they integrated the TVA, and then obviously, of course, the return of Hugh Jackman, and you get the iconic suit finally after Hugh Jackman playing this role for 20 years or whatever it's been. But Deadpool and Wolverine is easily the most lackluster in the story department in the Deadpool film. So like Spider-Man No Way Home, you get all these massive cameos, but unlike Spider-Man No Way Home, the cameos don't really serve the biggest purpose in the story, and then by the end of it, the story doesn't really end up meaning anything. So it feels weightless, but it's also very fun. So that's why it makes the best of 2024, but it's not that high on the list. Number 8, Smile 2. This was like the sleeper hit of the year. I had no interest in the original Smile. I thought when those trailers came out, it looked like super dumb. I was like, what is this? But I watched that on streaming one night with my fiance, and we were like a couple years ago, and we were, oh my gosh, we were terrified, y'all. So I actually was thoroughly surprised with Smile. So Smile 2 is one of my more anticipated movies of the year, and it freaking delivered, y'all. Naomi Campbell, she should get an Oscar for the acting. This was a good year for horror, you guys. Like, she carried this movie fully. Smile 2 does what any good sequel does, I always say this, and it ups the ante from the original while also still feeling connected to the original and in the same universe, and just everything about Smile, the scares, the whole premise of the movie, and also it has such a strong opening with the continuation of the first Smile, and then also such a strong ending of where you know they're going to greenlit Smile 3, of like where they could take this series. Number 7, Inside Out 2. This was another massive, thoroughly enjoyable surprise, you guys. I think this is the biggest grossing movie of the year, like 1.7 billion or something insane like that. Or everything I just said about Smile 2, but like with a Disney, kids animated movie. This plays off of Inside Out, the first one, so well, and it just elevates the material from the first movie, the emotions, what kids, what adults, what people go through, and how it displays or dives into how emotions play out. It's just all elevated. Oh my gosh. It's just all elevated in this one to the next degree with new emotions, embarrassment, envy, nostalgia, which is hilarious here, and then most importantly, anxiety. Anxiety's gotten a lot of talk throughout the last couple of years, and I think it is just put on display the best it has ever been in this movie. It's played so well by Maya Hawke. Just what this movie does with emotions, and then Riley getting a little more of a story as getting into a teenager, dealing with puberty, all of that stuff, and where the uncomfortableness, where the story goes, and then that's how it all plays out, and it's so relatable. This is a really good movie, y'all. Number 6, The Fall Guy. So, little shout out with this movie. Hold on. So I'm not being biased here, but Universal, thank you Universal. Universal used one of my reviews of The Fall Guy for their marketing, and I have it. My fiance is so amazing. She framed it here. So I'm not biased towards the movie, but Emily Blunt, Ryan Gosling, and the director of the John Wick films, and I think the first Deadpool movie, they make just such an enjoyable date night movie that this movie didn't do well in theaters, but I think it's having a second life on streaming. People are going more positive with it. It's just downright a fun time with a lovable story, lovable cast, and I mean, these characters, these actors just play these characters so well. This romance over here, but then also their whole action plot line with how it goes into stunt work. It's just thoroughly, an enjoyably good time. If you missed this one this year, definitely check this out. Number 5, Civil War. This was a big surprise. I normally go a little more mixed with A24 movies. I never know which way they're going to go. I love The Iron Claw and Midsommar and Hereditary, but I don't really like Talk to Me. This was fantastic, y'all. I mean, it made top 5 of 2024. That's a big deal to make on a list. Starring Kirsten Dunst and Kaylee Spaney, who's having a great year, by the way. Spoiler alert, she'll be mentioned later, higher up on this list. The premise of the movie is the U.S. is in a civil war with California and Texas resigning to be their own thing and creating a war within the country. And just some of the shots in this movie, and the way that it showed the fall of the U.S. and the tense, that's the best praise I could give this movie, the tense situations this movie puts you in, how the characters, the journey that they go on to get to the president, get a quote from him, and then just the imagery and the places you're put in this film. And then shout out to Jesse Plemons, who always plays just the most uncomfortable version or uncomfortable person ever. He shows up, he always knows the assignment in these movies, or in his movies. Scene-stealing performance in this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Number 4, The First Omen. Probably my biggest surprise of the year. Pleasant surprise. I was highly anticipating this movie because I'm a huge fan of the original, I can't say the first Omen, but like the original Omen. And you never know where these like legacy sequels are going to go, if they're going to pan out well. And y'all, this movie delivered in every single department. I said it's a big year for horror. This film is fantastic, you guys. Like, not even just as a horror movie, I mean, fantastic horror film. The story, the cinematography, the music, oh my gosh, you guys, just unsettling. I'm getting like spooked talking about it right now. But just like very unsettling imagery, unsettling themes, and how it like connects to the original Omen. Doesn't feel cheap, doesn't feel tacked on. Like, you could watch this and then go and watch the original Omen. Like, you watch this as a prequel and they fit side by side, and it's almost nearly on the same level as the original Omen, which is insane. Also, shout out to Neil Tiger Free, who turned in a phenomenal performance in this movie, just like Naomi Campbell. Incredible, great year for horror. She was fantastic. Kicking off the top 3, Nosferatu. Woo, y'all, I can't give this movie more praise. The cinematography, the acting, the drama, the dread, the horror, the tension, just like all of it. Everything is top notch in this film. I am a huge Bill Skarsgård fan. I think he just fully embodies his role. He's always down to play these like weird characters like Pennywise, and I mean, we're not going to get into The Crow, but like that as well. But he was like game for this fully. And then Lily Rose Depp, I haven't seen her in a movie before, but like, women are carrying this year in horror, you guys. Like, this is not the last praise I'm going to give for horror either, of a woman in a leading woman in horror. This is not the last time I'm going to give praise in this video. But Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Willem Dafoe, Aaron Taylor Johnson, like, everybody pulled up to set and they were like, let's make a good movie. It's terrifying. It is gross in the best way. And, I mean, it's probably my favorite Robert Eggers film. I'm not a big fan of The Witch. Please don't come at me in the comments for that. I still haven't seen The Northman or The Lighthouse. I need to check those out. Maybe do a ranking when his next movie's coming out. Let me know below in the comments if you want me to do that. Anyways, Nosferatu is fantastic. Number 2, Alien Romulus. Okay, so a little background on me with the Alien films. I had only seen Prometheus, I know, when it came out when I was like 12 or whatever, and I was not a big fan of it. Like, I remember going to see it with my mom, and she was a big Alien fan, the original one. We came out of the theater and we were just like, that was terrible. Like, that was not good. So, never watched another Alien movie. And then Alien Romulus was coming out, and then one of my really good friends is really into the Alien films. So I thought, you know what? With starting this channel last year, let me watch the Alien films, get ready for Romulus. There's a lot of buzz around it. And y'all, this film delivered on every single front. Praise here, Cailee Spaeny, another leading woman in horror this year. They're like taking the year by storm. She was fantastic, y'all. She felt like Ripley, you know, like she was the next, what is her name? Sigourney Weaver, duh. She is like, has the spirit of Sigourney Weaver, of Ripley in these movies, and just how Alien Romulus takes place between Alien and Aliens, it finally feels like the same universe. Like, the director and the writers and all that like did their homework with this movie, and it's some of the best alien sequences we've got in alien movies like in decades, and it's also the best characterization we've got since Aliens, like since James Cameron's Aliens in the 90s, I think, or maybe that was even the 80s. I don't know, but best characterization, best use of the aliens. And honestly, if you're gonna ask me, so I watch all the Alien movies leading up to this, my ranking: Alien, Alien Romulus, Aliens, and then the rest are just like whatever. Like, maybe I'll put up a ranking here, but these are like top 3. I would watch these movies like back to back to back as a trilogy, and that's kind of really all you need in the Alien movies. I mean, I know there's Prometheus and Covenant, and this one delivered exactly what I wanted from an Alien movie. I will watch a sequel of this opening night. This movie was fantastic. Bringing us into number 1, the best movie of 2024, Wicked. I was not expecting to like this movie as much as I did. I've seen the original Broadway show twice. I saw it once on Broadway, front row in New York, which was crazy, you guys. I still didn't think this movie was gonna be much of anything. It's fantastic, you guys. And really what only keeps it from being a 10 out of 10 is that it's a part 1 of a part 2, and they didn't really market that. And so it's not a full, kind of like Across the Spider-Verse, it's not a full story on its own, so it does pull it back a little bit. But the music, the choreography, the set design, the costumes, like the singing, everybody is phenomenal in this movie, and there's love. You can feel the love put into it, and you can see where the money went to make these designs and these visuals, like all the animals in Oz, all the different magic, and then just the twists and turns. If you've seen the musical, like, you already know where this movie's gonna go, but the way it plays off of the Wizard of Oz and how it's gonna bleed into that, especially with part 2, which I hope it does deliver there. Ariana Grande, obviously she's a great singer. She is a homewrecker though, so I don't really support her. Whatever, to each their own. But Cynthia Erivo, phenomenal, you guys. I mean, they played so well together. They really, really led this movie, and they led the year by storm. They won 2024. So there's my list of the top 10 best movies of 2024. Let me know not only your thoughts on my list, but your top 10 list in the comments below. Like I said, I'm gonna have a companion video up with this one soon of the top 10 worst movies of 2024, which is always more of a fun list. While you're waiting for that to be up, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. I'm going to link them in this video. Hope you guys had a great holiday season. Happy New Year to you guys. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, I will see you all on the next.